Okay, welcome to this presentation by Specialist Education Services. Alternative ways to communicate. What are they? What do they look like? And some helpful tips. So what is communication? Communication is how, as individuals, we express our thoughts, feelings, wishes, and needs to others. Communication is identifying the best ways to pass your message on to others, for example, by speaking, writing, signing, body language, or facial expressions. When a baby is born, they immediately start to communicate with their caregivers by crying, using sounds, cooing and squealing, facial expressions, eye contact and smiling, and body movements, kicking legs in excitement, and as they get older, pointing at things. So, behaviour as communication. So how is behaviour a form of communication? Behaviour is a way of communicating our needs or wants in a response to an environment or a situation. Behaviour allows communication beyond words. What we often don't realise is that when someone is acting out, screaming or aggressive in nature, they're trying to tell us something that is often difficult to communicate with speech. So we can use our own language to validate what a child or a young person is saying. We can ask them open questions such as, I can see you're feeling angry, upset, or I wonder what we could have done next time. Try and keep the language clear and offer simple choices. Give take-up time and limit choices offered to help decisions to be made. Phrasing language without using the structure of a question. We're going to put our shoes on rather than do you want to put your shoes on? Because quite often the answer to that may be no. So types of communication. So there are lots of these here. So body language, gestures and facial expression. We can add meaning to what we say through using facial expressions such as smiling or frowning and gestures such as waving goodbye or nodding our head. For children and young people who find speech difficult and have limited or no speech, facial expressions and gestures can become a very important way to get their message across. Signing. So signing is a way of using your hands to make different movements and shapes to communicate. It can also help some people understand what is being said to them. Signing can be used alongside or instead of speech, and it isn't only used for people who are deaf. So symbols. Symbols can be used by children and young people who find speech difficult to help them communicate effectively. Symbols can be arranged on communication boards or in books or on a computer screen, so the person using them can choose the symbol they need to indicate what they want to say. So written messages. So if a child or a young person with a speech difficulty can spell and write, the use of an alphabet chart or a keyboard can help them communicate using a keyboard or a laptop, a tablet, mobile phone, and they can use to spell out messages for others to read. So voice output communication aids. There's a wide range of devices of these, and they use spoken word to help users to get their message across. So tips for improving communication. So we use simple language, make it age and understanding appropriate. So engagement, we can use puppets, small world characters, ask questions to check listening at various stages to make sure they've understood. Again, time, give time to respond. That's really important, that we don't give an instruction and then immediately expect somebody to do what we've said. Sometimes we need that little bit of time to process it. So it's okay to repeat the question back and to clarify that you've checked you've heard right, or clarify what they mean. If your child talks to you, it's okay to say, did you mean this or that? It's always important to be a good listener and to be attentive and not to be distracted and to be doing other things at the time. That's not always possible, but it's good to find that time to actually listen. Eye contact is important, but we have to remember that some people find eye contact quite difficult, particularly those on the autistic spectrum. And so it's okay if they're not actually staring at you. That's okay. So body language. So 65% of communication is non-verbal. And we always need to be a good role model by demonstrating good turn-taking skills in conversation and non-verbal communication. If we're a good role model, then our children pick up how we deal with communicating with other people, and then they get used to doing this and do it for themselves when they're talking to their friends or other adults at nursery or school. Okay, thank you for listening.